Next episode in this series on tax, and so far we've looked at it from two angles. First, from the personal perspective, how individuals experience tax. Then, from the business perspective, how companies manage tax as a part of structure and planning. Today we will step into the third angle, politics. Because tax is not just a financial system, it's one of the most powerful political tools a government has. Through tax, governments decide who contributes how much and when, and those decisions are never neutral. They reflect priorities, ideology and power. In this episode, we're not debating whether tax is fair or unfair. We're looking at one quest only. How do governments think about tax, and why do tax systems look the way they do? Every government needs revenue to function. That part is simple. What's not simple is how that revenue is collected. Tax is political because it forces governments to make choices. Tax systems are designed through legislation, debated in parliament and defended in elections. Every tax law creates winners and losers. That means that every tax reform carries political risk. Increase income tax and workers complain. Increase corporate tax and businesses react. Increase consumption tax and everyone feels it. So governments are constantly balancing revenue needs against public acceptance. And tax is not about just funding the state, it's about maintaining legitimacy. Politically, tax is used to shape behavior. Governments don't just tax to collect money, they tax to influence decisions. Governments use tax to signal values. What they tax heavily, they discourage. What they tax lightly, they promote. And this is why tax systems often look complex. Complexity allows flexibility. If you don't know, then they will tell you what to do with it. And exactly this flexibility allows governments to fine-tune behavior without direct regulation. And from a political perspective, tax is often more effective than laws because it nudges instead of commands. One of the most important political decisions is where the tax burden sits. Governments usually distribute tax across three groups: individuals, businesses, consumption. Shifting the balance between these three groups is a political choice. Taxing individuals directly is visible and unpopular. Taxing consumption is less visible but affects everyone. Taxing businesses is politically attractive but economically sensitive. And that's exactly the reason why many governments rely heavily on indirect taxes like VAT. They generate large revenue and are collected quietly through prices. Income tax, on the other hand, is highly visible. People see it deducted from the salary. That visibility makes it politically risky to increase. Tax policy is deeply connected to elections. Governments don't design tax systems in a vacuum. They design them with voters in mind. Middle-income earners are often the largest voting group. That makes them politically powerful. As a result of that, many tax systems are designed to protect the middle, at least on paper. Raise taxes on the wealthy and you risk capital flight. Raise taxes on the middle and you risk elections. Raise taxes on the poor and you risk legitimacy. Politically, stability is often more valuable than efficiency. In a globalized world, tax is no longer purely national. Countries compete with each other through tax policy. Lower corporate tax rates attract investment. Favorable regimes attract talent and capital. And this creates, economists call tax competition. Governments must balance two goals: attract capital, maintain revenue. If taxes are too high or regulations are too strict, businesses relocate. If taxes are too low, the state struggles to fund itself. And this is exactly why international agreement exists, to prevent a race to the bottom. But enforcement of these regulations is very complex because sovereignty matters. From a political perspective, tax is also about control. Control over who operates where, control over how value is created and taxed. Ultimately, tax is about maintaining the social contract. Citizens accept tax when they believe the system is legitimate, when they believe contributions are shared fairly, when they trust institutions. When that trust breaks, tax resistance grows, legally or informally. And that's why governments focus so much on enforcement, reporting and compliance. That's not just to collect revenue, but to maintain authority. So politically, tax is a measure of control. The stronger the institutions, the easier tax collection becomes. On the other hand, the weaker the trust, the more coercive the system must be. And this is why tax policy and governance quality are always linked. Where do you pay for? What do you get in return? What do they do with your money? So from a political perspective, tax is not just about money. It's about power, priorities, and legitimacy. It actually reflects what governments value, who they protect, and how they maintain control. In the next episode, we'll move to the final angle, tax from an economic perspective. How tax affects growth, inequality, investment, and long-term stability across entire economies. Thanks for watching. I'm Remco Coerman, and this is the Coerman class, Finance and Business School, sponsored by Epic Edges. See you in the next episode.